You're a liar to the American people. Alex Jones thundered, veins bulging, fists pounding the desk. His voice cracked under the weight of his own fury, spit flying, face flushed a dangerous red. The studio lights didn't just catch. The sweat on his forehead they caught. The unraveling of a man used to controlling the chaos he creates. You don't want the truth, he growled, pointing across the table, because the truth destroys you. But Jasmine Crockett didn't flinch, not a blink. Not a breath out of place, she leaned in, slow and deliberate, her voice so calm it sliced louder than any scream. Alex, you spent 10 years claiming Sandy Hook was a hoax. Courts proved otherwise. You owe over $1 billion, and yet here you are, still selling survival kits. The room went silent. Even Jones paused just long enough for the cameras to capture his eyes flickering. Confusion? Panic? She didn't wait. You talk freedom but profit from fear. You weaponize lies, then play the victim. The only thing more inflated than your ego a beat is your bankruptcy filing. For a split second, no one moved. Not the moderator, not the crew, not even the chat feed, usually a blur. Had anything to say? Then it exploded. Crockett exposed him. Alex Meltdown. Truth just landed. Jones tried to respond, something about globalists, the deep state, chemtrails, but his words tripped over each other. Swallowed by the roar of the internet catching fire, Crockett leaned back, composed, the ghost of a smile playing on her lips, not smug, not triumphant. Just finished. It wasn't just a takedown. It was a reckoning. It's broadcast live, and it left millions asking the same question. How did it get to this point? But what pushed Jones over the edge was a truth he didn't see coming. It was billed as a conversation, an honest debate on media freedom in the digital age. But from the moment the cameras went live, it was clear this wasn't a conversation. It was a collision course. Two worlds, two ideologies. America's dot on one side. Alex Jones, conspiracy king, self-declared patriot, and veteran of the misinformation machine. He came in roaring, railing against big tech tyranny, leftist censorship, globalist puppet. His mic was hot, his facts cold. He flooded the stream with a fire hose of rage and half-truths, daring anyone to slow him down. On the other side, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett measured, unshaken and unbothered by theatrics. She didn't raise her voice. She brought something far more dangerous to men like Jones: evidence. The stakes weren't just rhetorical. This was more than internet drama. Millions were watching live. Dozens of clips would be ripped, memed, and shared across timelines within hours. For many, this debate was a litmus test. What kind of country are we becoming? Jones thundered. About free speech. But what he really meant was free reach, the right to lie without consequence. He played victim while weaponizing victimhood. He called himself a truth teller, while dodging court rulings that labeled him a defamer. Crockett came not to play, but to pierce. She understood something Jones didn't, that silence isn't weakness. It's precision. This wasn't just about one man's meltdown. It was about a growing rift in American public life between those who live in algorithm-fueled delusions and those who still believe in provable reality, between spectacle and service, chaos and clarity. And that's why the moment mattered, because this wasn't just a woman debating a man. It was a black Congresswoman, young, brilliant, unapologetically direct, standing in a truth that had been denied, ridiculed and buried by noise for far too long. While Jones bellowed about digital gulags and mind control satellites, Crockett waited, watching, stacking the facts like cards, each one more damning than the last. He mistook her silence for surrender, and just when the noise reached its peak, Jasmine struck with surgical precision. Asterisk before the red face and the courtroom tears. Before the billion-dollar judgment, before the desperate gasps for credibility, there was just a microphone, a basement, and a voice whispering the end of the world. Alex Jones built an empire on fear. It started small. Local radio, fringe audiences, stories about FEMA death camps and government weather machines. But it wasn't the content that grew his reach, it was the certainty. Jones didn't report. He declared, no facts, just fire, and as the internet exploded, so did he. Info became the nucleus of a new kind of media. Part circus, part cult, part cash register. Jones ranted about globalists by day and sold doomsday vitamins by night. The water's turning the frogs gay, he'd scream, before pivoting to a commercial for his super male vitality supplements. It was never just noise, it was profit. Every fear-mongering headline drove clicks. Every click sold gear, water filters, survival food, gold bars. The system is rigged, he warned, and then handed you a checkout cart. But beneath the theatrics was something darker. In 2012, the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting left 20 children and 6 educators dead. The nation mourned. Jones weaponized, he called it a false flag, staged event, claimed grieving parents were crisis actors, and his audience listened. Harassment followed. Death threats. Parents forced to move again and again. One father, Leonard Posner, had to prove his son even existed. Another, Scarlett Lewis, faced years of intimidation. The courts finally caught up. In 2022, multiple juries found Jones liable for defamation. The damages, nearly $1.5 billion. He cried on the stand, claimed he was broke, pleaded for mercy. But then reporters uncovered a $2,000 steak dinner, a $90,000 catamaran, hidden assets, shell companies. He wasn't broke, he was hiding the bag, and yet his followers stayed, loyal, furious, unmoved by evidence. Even conservatives started to distance themselves. Fox News anchors called him toxic. Republican lawmakers whispered off camera, "He makes us all look bad." A Texas judge stared him down mid-trial and said, "This isn't your show, Mr. Jones." But outrage was always the goal. Even if it cost him everything, his empire may be burning, but the echoes still bounce across podcasts, Facebook groups, comment threads. The damage doesn't disappear when the show ends, and he knows it. Jones isn't just a loudmouth. He's a mirror of what happens when lies get louder than law. When emotion beats truth, when no one pays the price until they do. But on this day, he wouldn't be facing a judge. He'd be facing Jasmine Crockett. Asterisk, before she was trending on Twitter. Before the headlines called her the voice of reason in the room. Before she lit up a live broadcast with facts and fired Jasmine Crockett. Was just a kid growing up in St. Louis. Watching how power treated people who looked like her, she wasn't born into privilege. She wasn't handed a platform. She earned every inch of it with grit, grind, and a relentless sense of purpose. Crockett started as a public defender in Texas. The clients no one else wanted. The cases no one else cared about. The ones that would never make the news. She walked into courtrooms where the odds were stacked, where being a black woman meant being underestimated before she even opened her mouth. And she opened it anyway. She fought. She won. Not just cases, but credibility, community trust, and a reputation for coming prepared. Always that instinct. With facts or don't come, it all never left her. It followed her into the Texas State House, where she earned a name as a legislator who didn't just vote the right way. She spoke the right way, sharply, smartly, without apology, and then came. Congress Washington was louder, dirtier, the theater more theatrical, but Crockett didn't adjust to the room. She adjusted the room to her. In hearings, she dismantled misinformation with surgical calm. When political stunts tried to make her fold, she raised eyebrows and facts. When she was interrupted, she didn't shout. She waited. And when it was her turn again, she hit harder with the truth than any scream ever could. Clip after clip. Went viral not because she was flashy, because she was undeniable. Whether questioning corrupt CEOs or calling out coded racism, in real time, she reminded people what accountability sounds like when spoken fluently. And still, she wasn't playing to the cameras. She was speaking to the people who rarely see themselves reflected in power. The working-class mother, the first-gen college student, the black girl getting talked over in every group project. The immigrant family hearing a politician who finally sounds like someone they trust, because Crockett doesn't just serve with facts. She is the fact. She's proof that leadership doesn't have to mean performance, that calm can be louder than chaos, that preparation can be more powerful than posturing. So when the debate with Alex Jones was announced, most assumed it would be a circus. But Jasmine didn't flinch. She read every brief, cross-checked every claim, printed receipts, dug into court documents, pulled transcripts, rewatched depositions. She didn't come to play games. She came with files, with facts, with fury, quiet, righteous fury. This wasn't just another media hit for her. It was a confrontation she'd spent her entire life preparing for. Because for every wild-eyed man yelling over her in a courtroom, for every smug voice in a hearing room doubting her credentials, for every troll calling her angry just for being direct, this was a reckoning, and this time the whole country would see it. So when the live light hit, the tables turned quicker than anyone expected. Asterisk. It started with a question about misinformation. Mr. Jones. The moderator began, "Do you believe media figures should be held accountable when their claims cause real-world harm?" Alex Jones smirked. "I believe in free speech." He snapped, "Not censorship from deep state puppets trying to silence patriots." And just like that, the fuse was lit. He leaned forward, eyes wide, voice booming through the studio. "They labeled me a liar for telling the truth. The vaccines, the rigged elections, the New World Order, none of you want to talk about that? You want to silence me because I exposed the real agenda?" Crockett didn't move. Jones pointed directly at her. "You sit there pretending to be for the people, but you're just another tool of the establishment treating scripts, pushing narratives. I've been right more times than you've been in office." Still, no reaction. He paced. Huff tossed papers in the air like confetti. "You know what this is?" he barked. "It's a witch hunt. They tried to bankrupt me, but I'm still standing. I represent the people. I built InfoWars with my own hands while you were in law school, writing term papers on how to kill the Constitution." Then silence. Crockett slowly adjusted the mic in front of her. "Are you finished?" she asked. The room stiffened. "I just want to clarify something," she continued, her voice steady, surgical. "You claimed you were silenced, but you're sitting here shouting on a live broadcast with millions of viewers." Jones opened his mouth. She raised a finger. "Not loud, just firm. Let me finish. You also said you were right about Sandy Hook. Yet a jury of your peers found otherwise. And the families, those grieving parents, were awarded over $1 billion in damages for your lies. That's not censorship. That's consequences." He scoffed, waved his hand, muttered something about fake judges. She didn't blink. "You said you stood for the people," she said, flipping open a binder. "So tell me how many of those people got refunds after buying your anti-COVID toothpaste, or the iodine drops you claimed could stop radiation poisoning." He was blinking now, because according to the FTC, she tapped a page. "You were warned. Repeatedly, and you kept selling anyway." Jones lunged forward. "That's not what happened. Those were advisory notices. This is all taken." Out of context, Crockett didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "Context?" she asked. "The context is you profited while people panicked. You peddled fear and cashed in on it. And now you want to play the victim?" The chat feed lit up in real time. She's schooling him. "Finally, someone's holding this clown accountable. Get the popcorn." On one half of the screen, Jones was sweating, shuffling papers, fuming. On the other, Crockett was still, composed, holding a single sheet in her hand. "Let's just make it plain," she said. "You scream about the truth, but you can't back up a single thing you say without spinning it into a new lie. So let me ask you just one question." She leaned in. "Do you believe Sandy Hook happened?" The air froze. Jones stammered, looked off camera, tried to form words. The chat feed exploded. "Answer her. This is the moment. Don't dodge now and then." With one sentence, she shattered the illusion. Asterisk, the question lingered. "In the air like smoke? Do you believe Sandy Hook happened?" Alex Jones blinked. Twice. A slight twitch in his jaw. He looked down, shuffling the mess of papers in front of him, like maybe somewhere in that chaos there was an answer that could save him. "I've addressed that," he muttered. Crockett tilted her head. "So, is that a yes?" "Tried to. Pivot. This is a setup. You people want to twist everything. I've apologized. Multiple times. But they won't show that, will they? Just the part where I'm the villain. That's what you do." "Yes. That's what all of you do." Jasmine Crockett didn't blink. She opened the binder again, turning slowly, deliberately, like she was flipping through a decade of receipts, and she was. "Let's go back to 2015, she said. "Your broadcast. You said, and I quote, "No one died at Sandy Hook." Then, in 2017, you claimed the shooting was staged using green screens, that the grieving parents were actors hired by the deep state. Would you like me to play the clip? Jones slammed, a fist on the desk. That was taken out of context. Crockett didn't move. Okay, let's try a different context, she said, sliding a document forward. This is from your deposition in Heslin v. Jones. You testified under oath that you no longer believed Sandy Hook was a hoax. But 2 weeks later, on your show, you said the whole case was just another attempt to silence patriots. Which is it? You reached for a rebuttal, but the words stumbled over each other. I never listened. That wasn't what you're doing is dishonest. She raised another paper. This is from your bankruptcy filing. Filed after the defamation rulings. You claimed you were broke. But your personal expenditures included a $15,000 watch, a $2,500 meal at Del Frisco's, and over $80,000 in unexplained media strategy expenses. The studio went quiet. Only the clicking of her binder echoed now. To the people who believed. And you who donated to your legal fund know you were living like that while begging them for help. Jones looked off camera. His voice dropped into something almost childlike. They know I fight for them. They know I'm under attack. This is a smear job? Crockett leaned in. No, Mr. Jones. This is accountability. The audience didn't clap. They didn't need to. The silence was louder than applause. On screen, split reactions began populating. Live tweets, TikTok stitches, reaction cams. She came with the files. This is what receipts look like. My jaw is on the floor. Jones tried to recover, throwing out new conspiracy claims like smokescreens, that he was targeted by the CIA, that the court system was rigged, that globalist elites were behind everything. But his voice cracked. The rhythm was gone. The control was gone. He sounded smaller, now not defiant, just desperate. Crockett held up a final sheet. And just to close the loop, here's an internal email from your staff. February 2020. They wrote and again. I quote, Alex is saying Sandy Hook again. We've told him this is legally dangerous. She paused. You knew what you were doing. You were warned. You didn't care, because the outrage sold better than the truth. Jones let out a bitter laugh. You think you're righteous? You think you're some kind of hero? Crockett just looked at him, calm, unmoving. No, I think I'm responsible. Another silence. Another explosion online. Even the moderator sat frozen. The crew whispered just out of frame. Jones sat back, slumped, the performance leaking out of him like air from a punctured balloon. There were no more fists on the table, no more defiance in his eyes, only the weight of a man staring at a truth too heavy to spin. And Crockett didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She simply closed the binder and let the facts settle like dust, because the moment didn't need a grand finale. It already was one. The gasps didn't stop. The clips didn't wait. Journalists were already crafting headlines. Hashtags were already in motion. It was a political exorcism live, unfiltered, and it wasn't over. Because what happened next? No one, not even Jones, saw coming. The debate had barely ended before the internet caught fire. Within minutes, hashtags were trending. #Crockett crushed it. #receipts. VS Rage. #Jones Unplugged on Twitter. Mashups of the moment, Jasmine asked. Do you believe Sandy Hook happened? Were? Already racking up views by the thousands, then millions. TikTok flooded with reaction videos. Wide eyes, dropped jaws, stifled gasps. Reddit threads ran pages long, dissecting every beat, every line, every exposed contradiction. She came with footnotes. One post read, This wasn't a debate. This was a public service, another declared. Someone edited a side-by-side. Crockett calmly flipping through her binder, Jones flailing and sweating to the soundtrack of the Imperial March. The cultural wave was instant-tanned. Seismic dot clips hit late night within hours. Trevor Noah. She dismantled him with so much poise I thought I was watching a Netflix lawyer drama. Stephen Colbert. Alex Jones just learned what happens when someone actually reads the terms and conditions before clicking lie. But it wasn't just the usual voices. Even conservative-leaning pundits started taking notice. One commentator tweeted, "This is what happens when you mistake volume for validity. That's not journalism. That's demolition." The shift wasn't subtle. For years, Alex Jones had lived in a fortress of noise. His audience didn't just support him, they believed him. This moment it cracked something, his core base. Still furious, still faithful, but others the on-the-fencers. The skeptics started asking different questions. One former fan posted a long thread. "I used to listen to Jones daily. I thought he was fighting for truth. But watching him crumble, like that, I saw a man with no answers. Just a salesman running out of slogans." YouTube channels dissected the debate like it was Game 7. Let's break down the moment he knew he lost. Podcast hosts dubbed it the best takedown since Katie Porter grilled Big Pharma. TikTok teens started doing dramatic readings of Crockett's quotes like monologues. One viral video showed a teacher playing the clip to a civics class. "This," she told her students, "is how democracy defends itself." Meanwhile, the memes didn't stop. Alex Jones' red face was photoshopped onto volcanoes, hot sauce bottles, and collapsing Jenga towers. Crockett's binder, now a symbol. People started posting selfies holding random binders with captions like "Come prepared" or "Don't come at all." And through it all, Jasmine Crockett stayed silent. No grand victory lap, no press tour. Just a short tweet. Truth doesn't need volume, it needs courage. 16,000 retweets in under an hour? It's in under an hour? Because for the people watching, especially black women, immigrants, first-gen professionals, the politically exhausted, it wasn't just a debate. It was validation. That facts can still win. That dignity can be louder than rage. That the room can be turned with nothing more than a binder, a voice, and the truth. And for all the jokes, the memes, the celebratory edits, there was something deeper happening. A cultural turning point? A moment where the fog of misinformation met a cold, clear wind of accountability. People weren't just entertained, they were reminded what leadership looks like. But for Jasmine, this wasn't about going viral, it was about something far bigger. After the cameras stopped rolling, the echoes of that explosive debate faded into millions of feeds. Jasmine Crockett sat quietly, reflecting on what had just happened. The world saw the spectacle, the viral moments, the falling titan. But for her, it was never about shouting louder or drowning out the chaos. We can't out-yell lies. She said in an interview the next day, her voice steady, warm, unshakable. We have to outlast them. In a time when the noise is relentless, when truth is twisted into a weapon and facts are drowned in a sea of distraction, Crockett's calm defiance offered a different kind of power, not the power of anger or spectacle, but the power of unwavering dignity. She understood something deeper, something too often forgotten. Truth doesn't shout. Truth stands. It waits patiently in the silence between the lies, in the documents no one wants to read, in the courage to speak even when the room is hostile. Her victory wasn't a moment of triumph over a single man. It was a renewal of faith in what leadership should be at a time when so many had lost trust in government, institutions, and each other. Jasmine Crockett became a symbol not just of resistance but of restoration. She reminded America that leadership doesn't have to be loud to be strong. She reminded black women everywhere that their voices aren't just symbols to be admired from afar, they are systems of survival, engines of change, and the backbone of progress. For the immigrant watching late at night, exhausted by the lies that threaten their dreams, she was proof that truth matters, that facts can fight back, and that dignity can outlast rage. "You're not crazy for wanting facts," Crockett said, looking directly into the camera. "You're not weak for asking questions. You're not alone for believing in justice." And in that simple message lay a profound revolution. Crockett didn't go viral for being loud. She went viral for being right, for standing firm when the world tried to shake her, for holding the line. So others could see the way forward, because at the end of the day, it's not about how hard you hit. It's It's about how steadfast you remain. In the war against misinformation, against fear, against division, Jasmine Crockett showed us what real power looks like. Quiet, steady, unyielding, and in that quiet strength, a nation could find hope again. The fight was far from over, but for this moment, dignity had spoken, and it had been heard. Because when truth stands tall, nothing else can stand in its way. Alex Jones went nuts, live on air not, because he was. Misunderstood, but because he was finally held accountable. His empire of noise cracked under the weight of facts, courage, and quiet conviction. Jasmine Crockett didn't just win a debate. She ignited a movement to call for all of us to stand taller, speak clearer, and fight disinformation, not with more noise, but with integrity and courage. This moment wasn't just about one showdown. It was about every voice that's been drowned out by lies. Every person craving truth in a world saturated with chaos. If you believe that truth is louder than lies, that dignity can cut through the noise, then don't stay silent. Share this story. Subscribe for more voices who stand for justice, for facts, for the power of calm defiance. Be part of the shift, because in the age of chaos, calm truth is revolutionary.